Has Cristiano Ronaldo already reached his expiration date? That question may sound crazy. After all, we are talking about one of the greatest players in football history, a five-time Ballon d'Or winner, the all-time leading scorer in international football, and the man who has been the face of Portugal for nearly 2 decades. Yet, after Portugal's 1-1 draw against DR Congo at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, that question suddenly began appearing everywhere, not only from fans, but also from pundits, former players, and international media. What makes the situation even more interesting is that the criticism is no longer about Ronaldo failing to score. The debate has become much more serious. Many people are now asking whether Portugal actually plays worse because Ronaldo is still on the field. At 41 years old, after 10 major tournament matches without a goal, and after producing a statistical performance against DR Congo that was almost entirely filled with zeros, a question has emerged that very few people dared to ask just a few years ago. Has the Cristiano Ronaldo who once terrified defenses around the world now become a burden for Portugal? And if the answer is yes, why does Roberto Martinez continue to keep him in the lineup? In today's video, we're going to break down the question, has Cristiano Ronaldo finally reached the end of the road? Let's get started. A historic night that turned into a night of criticism. Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at the 2026 FIFA World Cup with a chance to make history. When Portugal faced DR Congo, he officially matched Lionel Messi's record of 6 World Cup appearances. No male player in football history has managed to remain at the highest level for such a long period of time. For many people, the match against DR Congo was supposed to be the perfect stage to celebrate Ronaldo's greatness. Portugal even took an early lead through João Neves and controlled much of the game. However, what followed turned into a nightmare. Portugal lost control of the match, failed to score a second goal, and conceded an equalizer just before halftime, eventually settling for a disappointing 1-1 draw. The problem was not only the draw itself. The biggest spotlight was directed at Ronaldo. In what should have been a celebration of his legendary career, he made almost no meaningful impact. Many media outlets highlighted how Portugal struggled to make the most of their attacking dominance. Some analysts even argued that Portugal's play looked slow and predictable. To make matters worse, while Ronaldo failed to shine, Lionel Messi opened the tournament with a hat-trick for Argentina. That comparison only intensified the criticism surrounding Ronaldo. What should have been a historic night instead became a night that left many people questioning whether Portugal can still rely on a player who is now 41 years old. Statistics that are becoming impossible to defend. If there is one thing that has made the criticism of Ronaldo even louder, it is the statistics. This time, the criticism is not based solely on opinion. The numbers themselves tell a painful story. Ronaldo finished the match against DR Congo without a goal, without an assist, without a shot on target, without creating a chance, without completing a successful dribble, and without winning a single duel. Throughout the game, he was involved only sporadically in Portugal's attacking play. For a player who spent the full 90 minutes on the pitch as the team's main striker, those numbers inevitably raise serious questions. Any striker can have a bad day, but it is extremely rare to see a player of Ronaldo's stature contribute almost nothing statistically. Even more concerning is the fact that this was not an isolated incident. Over the last few years, Ronaldo's performances for Portugal in major tournaments have shown a clear downward trend. He no longer possesses the same pace he had during his years at Manchester United or Real Madrid. The explosive athleticism that once terrified defenders has gradually faded. Thierry Henry openly stated that Ronaldo is no longer the type of player capable of stretching opposing defenses. If Portugal wants goals from Ronaldo, his teammates must work harder to supply him with chances inside the penalty area. In other words, Ronaldo no longer creates opportunities for himself. He now depends on a system designed to serve him. 10 consecutive major tournament matches without a goal. This is perhaps the most difficult fact to ignore. Ronaldo has now gone 10 consecutive matches in major international tournaments, including the World Cup and the European Championship, without scoring a single goal. The streak began after his match against Ghana at the 2022 World Cup. Since then, he has failed to score against Uruguay, South Korea, Switzerland, Morocco, the Czech Republic, Turkey, Georgia, Slovenia, France, and now DR Congo. During that stretch, he has taken dozens of shots, yet not one has found the back of the net. For a player who spent years being regarded as the deadliest goal-scoring machine in football, the statistic is astonishing. What makes the situation even more complicated is Ronaldo's age. No player can defeat time forever. Even the greatest legends eventually experience decline. Many analysts believe that what we are witnessing is not merely a temporary dip in form, but a sign that Ronaldo has truly moved beyond his prime years. He still possesses a striker's instinct, he still has the mentality of a champion, he still carries one of the biggest names in football. However, modern football demands much more than that. The game is faster, pressing is more intense, and off-the-ball movement is more important than ever. The question is no longer whether Ronaldo was once the best player in the world. The question is whether the current version of Ronaldo can still provide the contributions Portugal needs to win a World Cup. When football legends begin to criticize him. When criticism comes from social media, many people may dismiss it, but when it comes from football legends, the conversation becomes much more serious. Thierry Henry became one of the most talked about figures after the match against DR Congo. He pointed to a moment when Ronaldo moved into an area that was already occupied by Bruno Fernandes. According to Henry, that decision suggested Ronaldo was more focused on finding a goal for himself than creating space for his teammates. Henry's comment was particularly sharp. He stated that the team needs goals, not a player who needs goals. The remark immediately sparked debate throughout the football world. Henry was not alone. Former France international Gaël Clichy also offered a controversial assessment. According to him, Portugal's play has become unnatural because of Ronaldo's presence. The Portuguese players seem constantly focused on finding Ronaldo, even when better options are available elsewhere on the pitch. Clichy argued that without Ronaldo, Portugal's younger players might be more willing to take responsibility and express themselves freely. This is an especially serious criticism because it is no longer about Ronaldo's individual quality. Instead, it questions his impact on Portugal's entire tactical system. Once the discussion shifts in that direction, many people begin asking whether Portugal is building a team to win matches or building a team to preserve Ronaldo's status as the center of attention. Could Portugal actually be better without Ronaldo? This is where the debate becomes truly controversial. Portugal currently possesses one of the most talented generations in its history. Bruno Fernandes drives the midfield, Bernardo Silva brings creativity and intelligence, Rafael Leão provides pace and explosiveness. Then there are Vitinha, João Neves, João Felix, and Gonçalo Ramos. Most of these players are currently in their prime years of their careers. Many observers believe Portugal has enough talent to play faster, more fluid, and more dynamic. However, the key question remains, can that system fully emerge as long as the entire team continues adapting itself around Ronaldo? That is the debate currently gaining momentum among football analysts. Of course, no one can erase Ronaldo's legacy. He remains the greatest player in Portugal's history. He remains the man who transformed Portuguese football forever. But football is not about the past. Football is about what you can contribute today. Fernando Santos once made the bold decision to bench Ronaldo during the 2022 World Cup. Now, Roberto Martinez faces a similar dilemma. If Portugal struggles again in upcoming matches, the pressure on Martinez will undoubtedly increase. And perhaps for the first time in Ronaldo's international career, the question is no longer whether he can score goals. The question is whether Portugal might actually become a better team if he does not start matches anymore. Perhaps Ronaldo is not truly finished. Perhaps he can still silence all of his critics with one important goal, one magical moment, or even by leading Portugal deep into the 2026 World Cup. However, at this moment, The evidence on the field is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. 10 major tournament matches without a goal, a performance filled with zeros against DR Congo, criticism from Henry and Clichy, and a growing number of voices who believe Portugal possesses enough talent to move forward without depending on Cristiano Ronaldo. Is Cristiano Ronaldo still Portugal's greatest asset? Or has he become a burden they are simply afraid to let go of? So, what do you think? Does Ronaldo still deserve to be Portugal's starting striker at the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Or is it finally time for Roberto Martinez to hand the keys to Portugal's next generation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for the latest football content every day.